Hi everyone, so this video is going to be a bit of a reflection on being in Koh Phangan, Koh, Koh Phangan, Koh Phangan in Thailand, and I didn't have any particular plan to go to Koh Phangan. I didn't really have any particular plan to go to Thailand, and I was kind of considering going somewhere nice. And me and Aubrey, who was my girlfriend at the time, we wanted to go somewhere, and she really wanted to go somewhere like warm, tropical beaches and all that stuff. So, I, and I think one of my friends was out in Thailand at the time, so I think that might have been one of the reasons we decided to go here. And I've never really been drawn to Thailand, right? Uh, it's funny, I was thinking about this. I've been to Thailand 3 times, and it's never really been me going, oh, I really want to go to Thailand. It's usually this time it was, Aubrey and there's other friends here. Um, but the other 2 times it was other friends that were here who went into it. But I've never truly been drawn to Thailand the way I have been drawn to other countries. Um, but I've been here a bunch of times. So we were thinking of coming and we were going to go to Chiang Mai, and then everyone was saying, no, you can't go there, the burning season. And then a friend of mine, Louise, got in touch and said, come to Koh Phangan, that's where everyone is, that's where the fruit is, that's where everything is, that's where the yoga is. So we decided to go. I'd never really heard much about Koh Phangan. Maybe I'd heard the name, but didn't really know much about it. In fact, I probably first heard about it because a friend of mine came here years ago for the full moon party, and that's what it was famous for. Was a full moon party on Hadrin Beach, which is the sunrise beach, and they've had like 30,000 people there every month for the full moon. So it's a pretty crazy party, world renowned. So we decided to go there, and at this time there's a whisper of a thing called coronavirus, but and it actually did affect some of Aubrey's flights, had to be changed because she was going through China. But my flights weren't changing. We got there and turned up in Bangkok, and she was annoyed at me because I went to the wrong airport, or I didn't wait for her in the airport and stuff. And we got to, but it was amazing to see her again at that point. And then we got to we got to the proper hotel. Then I guess we flew down to Surat Thani, and then you have to fly. Probably I would say if you're going to go to Koh Phangan, you're best going through Koh Samui. You should do that. Fly into Koh Samui and because the boat from Koh Samui to Koh Phangan is only 20 minutes. The boat from Surat Thani to Koh Phangan is like 3 hours, and it's not, I think you should check out go through Koh Samui. Anyway, I had to we eventually got to Koh Phangan, and it was a long bus trip. It was quite a long boat trip, and we eventually got there. And I'll tell you how I felt at the time. I had left. I gave up my flat. You might have been following me at the time. I gave up my flat that I was renting, that I don't own, but I was renting. I gave that up, and pretty much gave up a lot of the stuff that I was doing back home, and at that point the UK Fruit Fest was doing really well, better than ever before, really going good, and I was a bit uncomfortable about leaving the UK. I didn't really like the impression that gave, that I was leaving the UK and I'm putting on this event in the UK. I didn't really like that, and also didn't like the fact it would make it difficult to try and contact people potentially. And that was one of the reasons I didn't want to do that, but I came anyway. but it was going really good, and I was just, I just wanted to make sure that I could work and be in touch with people and all that. And we got here, and we stayed in a hostel called Pink's Hostel or something in Thong Sala, which is the city in Koh Phangan, the main port and the main kind of city. And I was immediately just not enjoying it, to be honest, in a way. Like, there was part of me that was just not. I don't get a real thrill out of being in the sunshine and in the heat, It just doesn't bother me, the fruit quality thing. We arrived in Bangkok. I stopped off at a market. I got the mangoes that are not good. I took them to the airport. I gave them, Derek and Aubrey, the mangoes, and they were just like, yeah, these are okay. They're not really ripe enough. And I thought they were great, right? And then we got some chempedak, and we went to the beach one day, and I just got super burned. Derek got really burned. Aubrey got pretty burned. It's like the first or second day there, and I was immediately just not comfortable with the heat. It's pretty hot, with the brightness of it, and just struggling to kind of adapt to being in this new place. And then we got to our resort, and my idea was like, let's go to a nice resort for at least the first week, and then we can find somewhere, cheaper after that. And it turned out the resort wasn't actually that nice, and it was kind of a bit, the people weren't that great, weren't very hospitable. The room wasn't very good. There was always like cockroaches in the bathroom. The Wi-Fi was non-existent, and that was really stressing me out because I had to work. And I was just not. I was struggling to enjoy a lot of it. But we started to go to like the fruit. There was like a weekly fruit picnic kind of gathering. We started to go to that. We started to meet people a little bit, and we started to find our way around. And we were going to like there's a whole so Sri Tanu is the area that we were living. Lamezon Resort is, and that's like right in the center of everything. Because Zen Beach on Sri Tanu is where it's one of the places everyone hangs out at sunset. It seems like everyone goes somewhere for sunset on Koh Phangan. Or there's also Pirates Beach or Pirates Bay, which is another place people go at sunset and jam and play music and stuff. But very quickly into this whole thing, this restrictions came into place. National emergency, coronavirus restrictions. There was a curfew. You couldn't go out after 10. People weren't meant to meet. The beaches started to get closed, and there were signs up saying you couldn't go to the beaches, which seemed crazy. Restaurants were closed. Massage places were closed. And people weren't sure what was happening visa-wise, and we weren't going to stay there for ever. We wanted to go to Bali, and then we found that got cancelled, and then we kind of renewed our visa to stay longer, and then all of our visas got extended, which is like a very unlikely situation, but that we got to stay in Thailand for like 4 months without having to pay extra for visas and stuff. And I after Lamezon, I was like, I can't deal with this. I need to be able to work, and we need to find a better place. We found a house that was not too far actually from. It was still in Sri Tanu basically, but just not on the main. It wasn't just off the main road. A nice house to ourselves, and it would have been great. Like if everyone could have met up, we could have had people over more, and our friend Derek was hanging out with us quite a lot. And but the lockdown happened, and very quickly it was hard for me to enjoy a lot of the experience, and I was very stressed about everything, and everything got locked down around the world, and like it's really stressing out about the fruit festival, what was going to happen, and what was happening in the UK, and should I just go back home, and it was a bit of a struggle, for me personally, and I'm sure for a lot of people all over the world. And it was frustrating because it didn't seem like, and I don't know. I guess it's just my thoughts. I can't prove. I just don't think the lockdown was the right thing. Don't think it was the best decision. But it happened, and it's gonna have a pretty devastating effect on everything going forward for a while. It's really gonna shape things for a while, unfortunately. I, uh, I'm not gonna get into that one in this video, but so we found a house. Let me go over some prices. So the first resort, I think we were paying like, I don't know. I think we might have spent 11,000 baht over 2 weeks or something. Maybe more than that. Could have been more. It wasn't really worth it anyway. But the beach was good, Happy Beach, that's quite a popular beach. And it's right beside Zen Beach. So we got this house, which wasn't too far away from that. And that was 18,000 baht. 18,000 baht is 500, I think. £500 for a month for a house. It's not too bad. But in other parts of Thailand, it's much cheaper. I think Koh Phangan's a bit more expensive. Koh Phangan is very much a touristy place, by which I mean it's full of tourists. Well, no, it's full of foreigners. A lot of them are living there long term, but it's full of foreigners. And the Sri Tanu area is more of a spiritual yoga, veganism, raw food area. Um, and I don't know. I feel quite emotional about the whole thing. It's I'm kind of sad to leave. At the same time, I wasn't fully enjoying it a lot of the time. But being there for 4 months for so long, it's like you do become a part of the flow of it. And at first, I was quite judgmental because I was thinking, "Oh, look at all these people that are like running away from home and avoiding their responsibilities back home." That's how I sometimes feel about people that are traveling or digital nomads or whatever. Like they're just trying to escape or get away, and and I don't like that. It's not what I want to do. And it's that's me just being judgmental, because that's not necessarily what people are doing, but that's me being judgmental about it. And also that thing of the idea of like people presenting themselves as being spiritual and healers and mystics and yogis and tantra and all this stuff, like it seems a bit fake, and I don't really like that aspect of it. But once again, that's me being judgmental. It's not real, It's me preventing myself from making a friendship with a person and finding out what they're really all about. Instead, I'll just make a judgment about them and put distance between me and them, and I don't like that I do that. But yeah, the house we had, that we probably could have got that house for less. We could have probably haggled, but didn't. And if you're getting transport, very quickly you get a scooter, right? Because there's not really transport that much, and it's very hard to walk around in the heat of the middle of the day in particular, and the light and the heat. So you get a scooter, and those they all say 250 baht a day, but usually if it's for a month, it'll go down to like 150 a day. Our friend got one for 100 a day, so 3,000 baht. It's less than £100 for a month using a scooter, and then you've got your diesel on top of that, which is not much, which is not very much to fill it up. It's £3 or whatever to fill it up, something like that. And food wise, there was plenty of market. We were really near some good markets, so it's quite easy to get our fruit, get our food. I was spending wangos for like sometimes 50, 60 baht a kilo. So if I was getting 4 kilos, it was maybe 200, 250 baht. Sometimes it got down to 150 baht at some points. Um, but if the average was maybe 200, 250, then you're talking 5, 6, 6, 7 pounds a day, something like that. I was spending on mangoes, so not super cheap, but that's what I was doing. If you're going to some of the restaurants, that was my concern, that we were going to these raw food restaurants, and I just felt like we were spending quite a lot on food, and I didn't like that. And also, I was trying to lose weight at the time, still in that really, but I was felt like I can't really measure what I'm doing if I'm eating raw gourmet food. I don't really know what's happening. And then we decided to go on this mango thing for 3 days, and I just kept going and kept going. I just started to really like it and just kept going and kept going and kept going. And that wasn't too much of a drawback. I certainly didn't feel like I missed out. I know there was great durian there. I've got plenty of occasions to eat durian the rest of my life. I'm not worried about that. Durian's not going away. Good durian's not going away. And we were still trying to meet up with people, but it was getting more and more restricted, and there was, stories of parties being broken up by the police and people being put in jail and stuff like that. And in many ways, it's been one of the worst periods of my life in a way, especially with the stress around what was happening with the festival. It was pretty tough, and that was just on my mind all the time. And I think that's what people don't get about something like that. If you do something for yourself, if you do something, if you're kind of entrepreneurial, you do something for yourself, you might not be working on it all the time, but it's always on your mind. It's always on your mind. And everything in your life, you start looking at it through the guise of, like, I could come to this hotel and I could look at something and say that could be good for the festival, or I like the way that she introduced this, or I like the way that she welcomed us here, and the system they've got for how they keep things secure, or whatever it is. Like, I could pick up anything and go, oh, that'd be good for the festival. Always sort of thinking about it. It's always in the back of my mind. It's always like a stress on some level. And we moved on to a place called Secret Garden Resort, and that was the place we got the best deal. That was like 10,000 baht for a month. That's less than £300 a month, and I think we shared that between us, so it was like 150 each, or maybe 120 or something. And that was for quite a good place, a resort with getting your room tidied for you, with a swimming pool and all that stuff. So you can find places like that, although that was reduced prices because of the lockdown for sure. And we were closer to Thong Sala, we were closer to more, we had more fruit selections. And then eventually we moved on to Banjai D Resort, which is pretty cool. That was 20,000 a month. It was a bit of a better place once again. Really good pool. I would recommend you check out Banjai D Resort. Of all those places, Banjai D Resort. It's for people, especially if you're working or you're a digital nomad. They've got spaces for working, and yeah, the Wi-Fi is better, but there's always problems with Wi-Fi in a lot of places. Honestly, I didn't like, to some degree, how we were occasionally treated in that place. Just very small things that I just thought were a bit strange. You know, when you've paid a good deal of money for a place, you want to be treated with a little bit of respect, and not like you're just a random person that's walked in. I left today from that place, and they hit me with a bill, and the bill said tuna sandwich and a Coke and a sandwich. No, tuna salad, sandwich, and a Coke. And I'm like, that's not me. Maybe it was Aubrey, but as far as I'm aware, she doesn't eat tuna salad. And I thought maybe it was like a substitution. Maybe they put tuna salad on the receipt because it was the same price it was, maybe she had a salad and took the tuna out or something. But I'm like, and there was a Coke, and I'm like, did she have a Coke and a tuna salad when I was like away one day? And I'm thinking, I don't know, maybe she could have done that. So I gave her a message. I said, is this yours? And she said, no. And there was a signature on it, and it wasn't her signature, so. But there was a bit of a weirdness there, as if they thought I'd maybe lied to them. Or, I was just like, that's not my signature. That's not our signature. That's not us. I didn't order any food from the place, and we're both vegan, so we don't have tuna, and neither of us have Coke. But it was like they were a bit annoyed about that. Slightly. And but anyway, it's worth checking out. I'm saying that they're very stressed. Probably they're not getting as many bookings as usual. It's probably a struggle. But only really at the end, when the lockdown started to ease a bit, did I start to see Koh Phangan a little bit more in a better light, and started to see the meetups and the gatherings and the music and the live music we went to this place, Green Gallery, one night, which is a vegan place. We went to Green Gallery, our friends were going. We walked in and we were like, there was just a huge crowd of people. There was an amazing little circle of musicians. There was this great musician, Alice Rose. I don't know if she lives on the island or whatever, but I think she's from Denmark. And she was like running the thing, and it was amazing. It was brilliant. And everyone was happy and together and singing along, and it was like, this is what we missed. You know, there was this whole lockdown, and we didn't experience any of this. You know, so we didn't. I don't know if I really saw the entire spirit of Koh Phangan, you know, because the people that live there see it as very special, and a lot of people that go back see it as a really special place. I've got friends that go there every year. I couldn't quite see it to some degree with people that live in Thailand and digital nomads. I'm kind of like, how do you do it? You know, part of me feels like that. Like when I was there, I was like, how do people live here? I just feel restricted. Like I don't have a work visa, so I can't just create and do things and put things on and run events and do things the way I would like to, and I don't know. And now I'm leaving, and it's weird because I had this love-hate relationship with it, where it's a beautiful place. The sunsets were incredible. The beaches were I've never really been in a place where for that often that I could go and swim in the ocean and stuff. Well, in Florida as well, but that I could every day I could go and swim in the ocean. I almost never had a shower because I was swimming, or I was swimming in the ocean or in the pool every day. And just the freedom to go on the scooters and scooter down to the ocean, and you know, I think I'll reflect back on it a bit more and think how beautiful it was, but I couldn't fully enjoy it at the time, you know. And I think I'm maybe going to miss it more than I thought I would, because a lot of the time I didn't feel that comfortable there, and didn't, you know. Yeah. So it's a funny one. And leaving, I was really sad, but part of that's probably because of also the relationship ending as well, and all that stuff, and all of that came together. And so I arrived on the island, you know, with with the relationship and with the festival going well and all that stuff, and I've kind of left defeated and you know basically a bit beat down by life, and I've lost weight. I've got a little bit of colour, tan, and all that. I met cool people, and ironically, the best friend that I met the whole time was a guy that I lived beside at Banjai Resort called Reed from Canada, and he's like a meat eater and has no intention of going vegan or fruitarian or whatever, but was quite open to speaking about it. He wasn't. So anyway, um, so I'm a bit emotional about leaving. I don't know if I'll ever go back. Um, I don't know if I'll have the time or money to go back to go do much traveling or holiday in the next few years. Um, so we shall see. But I guess that's my reflection on it. Quite a beautiful, incredible place. Great. I think there is great community there, but we didn't see it as much as we could have. Um, and I guess I'm glad that I went. I'm glad that, but it's funny. Like I'm sure in years to come, people will say, "Where were you during the lockdown of 2020?" You know, we'll all remember this in 40 years' time. We'll remember this moment. And where was I? I was on a paradise island in Koh Phangan in Thailand, and you know, I was lucky. So that's my very long video. I don't know if you got anything out of this, but thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.